Robert De Niro. What could break a man who's been the face of truth on screen for half a century? What cracks an icon who's carried 2 Oscars, rebuilt neighborhoods, and still shows up to set before sunrise? Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on Robert De Niro. Not the legend on the poster, but the man who kept standing when life kept swinging. He was born in Manhattan to artists Robert De Niro Sr. and Virginia Admiral, a home filled with paint, poems, and, soon, silence. The marriage shattered early. A gentle, loving father moved out. A tireless mother kept the lights on. A skinny kid, nicknamed Bobby Milk, learned what loneliness sounds like. Where did he hide? The movies. Dark theaters became classrooms. Faces on the screen became teachers. At 10, he was cast as the Cowardly Lion. At 17, he stepped off the safe path and into the unknown acting school with Stella Adler. Then, the Lee Strasberg method grind. He watched people the way a surgeon watches a heartbeat. Truckers at diners, hustlers in pool halls, kids on stoops in Little Italy. Roles came slow. Rejections came fast. But hunger makes focus, and focus makes legends. Then the door cracked open. Brian De Palma's early film showed a spark. In 1973, Bang the Drum Slowly proved there was real fire. And then, boom, Martin Scorsese. Mean Streets, Johnny Boy exploding off the frame. 1 year later, a high-wire act. Young Vito Corleone in The Godfather Part 2, a role living in Marlon Brando's shadow. He learned the Sicilian dialect until it lived in his bones. Oscar, respect, and a weight that never really left. The performances that followed didn't just ask, they took. Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, he drove nights for real, losing himself in the city's hum. Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull, he didn't fake the fall. He transformed, gaining dangerous weight to tell the truth. Genius? Absolutely. But every truth has a price, and the bill always comes. Career glory didn't soften the gut punches. An ambitious epic was butchered in the edit and flopped. Some critics called him too intense. Others asked why he dared to be funny in Analyze This or Meet the Parents. He was either too much or not enough, sometimes on the very same day. That's the trap at the top. Applause in public, doubts in private. And home? That's where the real storms roll in. He married Diane Abbott in '76, embraced her daughter Drena De Niro, welcomed Rafael De Niro. Love, laughter, and then distance. They parted. A long partnership with Tukey Smith brought the twins, Julian Henry De Niro and Aaron Kendrick De Niro. Later, he married Grace Hightower. Their son Elliot De Niro arrived, and years later their daughter Helen Grace De Niro. Elliot's autism reframed everything. Fewer easy answers, more everyday courage. The marriage bent, briefly mended, then finally broke. Papers get signed in a quiet room, but the echo carries for years. The hits didn't stop coming. In 2003, prostate cancer surgery, recovery, or perspective. In 2021, a torn tendon while working crutches, rehab, stubborn grit, and the heartbreak no grandfather should know. Leandro De Niro Rodriguez, Drena's son, gone at 19. Public statements were brief. Private grief was not. Then, a late-life plot twist. With Tiffany Chen, he welcomed a daughter, Gia Virginia, at 79. Shortly after, Tiffany battled Bell's palsy. Night feedings, doctor visits, scripts on the table, tiny socks in the laundry, an icon learning, again, that tenderness is stronger than toughness. That's not cinema. That's life, unedited. Now, your turn. Which performance hit you hardest? Travis Bickle's haunted stare, Jake LaMotta's bruised pride, Vito Corleone's quiet authority, or a later surprise that made you grin? Drop it in the comments. If this story moved you, give it a like, share it with someone who needs a shot of courage, and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive.